So I'm setting up another little video here of when I went out camping last week using just my AT gear in the Pacific Northwest wet, windy weather that they call winter here. I originally was going to be out on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, but then UPS sent me a notice saying I was supposed to get a package, so I postponed Wednesday and they never showed up, so I went out on the 18th, which turned out okay because I missed the heavier rain, still ended up with a lot of wind, and discovered a few things on my multi-day trip that turned into just basically 2 days as opposed to 3. Because I found out, I should know better, that you don't head off into the mountains with lightweight gear, knowing that it's going to be getting into the 30s. Now, I should know this from all my years of experience of playing around in the Cascades and the Olympics. But I decided, I just had to try out and see if I could survive in just taking my lightweight stuff that I'm planning on my AT trip. So I'm going to have to hope that the Smokies and the Whites don't get too wet and too windy and too rainy and so on and so forth, because I really did have one miserable night. The winds were blowing pretty high, 15 to 20 mile an hour. I found out that my tent, my lunar solo tent, which is the first time I've had it out in this kind of weather conditions, the single wall tent does not keep you near as warm as a freestanding tent with a rain fly and that, which I already knew to a point, but I didn't expect the wind to come rushing through and up under the door and up under the, what do you call it, the eaves over the vents that are run around between the bathtub floor and the actual top of the tent. So it was interesting as I had wind coming through and bombarding me all night. And of course, with the wind blowing, the trees were making one hellacious racket. I was waiting for one or two of them to come down because there'd been recent blowdowns and deadfall all over the place because of our windstorms we've been having, and not to mention all the rains. The ground is saturated. So even putting my tent up, I had to go find me a bunch of rocks to keep the pegs in place because they would just pull right out of the ground. So it was quite a learning experience. I also learned that the first time I actually used my Sawyer squeeze in the wilds, should I say. I played with it at home under controlled conditions, and it worked great. Excuse me. What I found out though was that here I am camped just a couple hundred feet away from the lake, up in the trees, and I thought, I got all the water in the world. But I found out you cannot take one of these collapsible bags that they send you, or even the other one that I bought, the Evernude that I'm planning on using. It's a little stronger bag. You can't sink one of these in a lake and get it to fill up. And of course, I'm out here in 30-degree weather, winds blowing like crazy, no idea what the wind chill factor is, and of course I've got my hands in a freezing lake that isn't quite freezing, no ice at least, no snow, but cold enough. And my hands don't like cold anymore anyway because they've been frostbitten so damn many times they're really tired of it. And so I'm trying to fill this bag full of water so that I can run it through my filter, and I can't even get any water to go in the bag because even though I submerge it, it ain't gonna fill up. So this didn't help much, though at least I always pack extra water with me. I don't care where I'm at, I always carry extra water with me because I go through a lot of water. And so I did have another small bottle of water, 700 milliliters, that I was able to use for getting through the night. Also found out, even with my windscreen, around my pocket rocket, it still took longer than normal that I've had in the past. This last year I tried it out throughout the summer. It worked much better. The cold is not working so well. But I will continue using it, including on the AT, because I found that it still heats the water up much faster than a alcohol stove does. So I managed to get my dinner going and all that. I was running low on water because I couldn't filter any, and I really didn't want to boil a bunch just to get through if I didn't have to. I was going to wait and see what happened in the morning. Needless to say, morning came. I was so frozen and cold after wearing all the clothes that I had with me, and my 20-degree bag with that wind just literally cut the chill down to something that I guess this old body just can't handle anymore. This is where I wished I was back in my 40s, because the body just doesn't deal with the cold like it used to. And this is going to pose a problem if I run into too much on the AT, because I am traveling lighter than I normally do and I ever have in the past. Because again, the body doesn't want to pack around 40 to 50 pounds like it used to back in the 90s and before that. So anyway, I'm going to splice this in as an intro and then show what I recorded, which is just a couple little clips the night that I camped. And then today I was out hiking. I did a 17-mile hike on the same loops that I was working with on those 2 days I was going to do. And got a little better video of what my camp area was looking like. So anyway, enough of that. I'd take a quick short video of this tree that came down. This thing's been down now all year. Came down first of winter. And you can see the nice sharp edges protruding there. And the reason I'm taking the picture is because it comes right over top of the trail. This is the trail down below. So you can see it goes off that way and back off underneath the tree and then on down that way. So what's happened is people have come around here and just kind of created a detour around. This here, even though it doesn't really look like, you can't see the angle of it, it's very, very slick when it gets wet. I came down there the other day and tried to get around it, and even though I was trying to avoid sliding, I took a slip, ended up sitting down, and you can see how close that is to the tree. Real easy way to impale yourself. So I'm hoping that the maintenance people will get around to cleaning that up, because that really is dangerous. Well, I got to my tent site. It's 3:10. Not bad. Hiking for since a little after 11. I think it was 11:15. Got just over 10 miles in. I expected to get closer to 11, but didn't make it. So anyway, here's the lake. I got water supply, and kind of hard to see in the dark here. It focused in there. Can't tell. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's hard to see anything. How you make this thing work? What's that little button do? Not much. Anyway, can't really see it, but that's where my tent's going to be going. So we'll get on with this later. I gotta get jacket on. It's getting cold. Not sure what the temperature is. It's supposed to get down to the upper 30s tonight. I don't have a thermometer, but we'll have to deal with that later. I got 46 at the trailhead when I started. Altimeter is reading 25, so deduct a few degrees for that. So yeah, we're probably down in the low 40s. Definitely getting chilled out. Anyway, gotta figure out how to make this work a little better. Can't see a thing. So I'm up here at Lily Lake. It's not the same day that I did my camping on. It's a few days later. I got here so late the other night that when I set things up, you couldn't see much. It's getting dark, even though it was only about 3:30. In the trees and the heavy overcast skies, you couldn't see squat. So there's the lake, and then over here is where I set up my camp. Nice little bench, fire pit. Didn't bother with the fire. Everything's so wet up here you couldn't get started if you wanted to. Nice flat spot for my tent. One thing that bothered me the biggest is that tree there. It was a few feet away from me, and I listened to that all night long as it creaked with the 15 to 20 mile an hour winds and the gusts up to who knows what. There was another one back over here someplace, but I can't find it. It also made some noise. So basically I spent the whole night waiting for trees to fall on me. None happened. No branches. I see over here though that there's some fresh downfall. This is new, these smaller ones. So a few things did come down. I don't know if it happened the night I was here or another night. Hard to say. Well, it's no wonder that tree's creaking around. It's wedged up there. Let's see, way up there. Where is it? Yeah, I can't really see it good. It's wedged between those two. So as they sway back and forth, the tree creaks. So, like I say, this is where I spent a very cold night. I don't know what the wind chill factor got down to. I know it was down to about the mid 30s. Just about froze everything. I was only up here with my AT gear. Needless to say, no sleep all night. Found out that my 6 Moon Lunar Solo makes a hell of a lot of noise, and it's not real good with those constant open vents. Wind just came right through them the whole night. So just having my gear for the AT wasn't enough to keep me warm. Needless to say, the next morning I just got up, got the hell out of here. Didn't bother hiking around and spending another night. So anyway, I'm going to continue on with my hike today.